Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into one of the absolute most stunning automobiles of the 20th century, the Auburn Boattail Speedster. I mean, this vehicle isn't just a car, you know? It's literally a kinetic representation of what advanced engineering and high style were capable of producing right in the middle of the Great Depression. It stands as this brilliant paradox of automotive history, a magnificent, luxurious machine born during an era of immense economic hardship. To really grasp the aura of this vehicle, we've got to look at the wildly audacious claims Auburn was making back then. Picture this. It's 1935, and Auburn is aggressively marketing their 851 Speedster with a guarantee that honestly seemed downright impossible for a passenger vehicle of that era. They promised that every single one of these cars could top 100 miles per hour. No way, right? Well, that hook completely captured the imagination of a struggling nation and cemented the car's legendary status. But how exactly did a car company pull that off?
Section 1. Cord revitalizes the Auburn brand.
So the story actually kicks off a decade earlier with a failing business originally known as the Eckhard Carriage Company. By 1924, Auburn was in bad shape, producing only about 6 pretty dull cars a day. Enter E.L. Cord. This guy was a dynamic salesman who pulled off a stroke of absolute genius. He took their whole backlog of unsold, staid cars, gave them a fresh coat of bright paint, and launched a massive ad campaign. And guess what? They sold out. Cord ultimately bought the entire company, became its president, and set the stage for these legendary speedsters.
Section 2. The shift to streamlined chic.
Now, following the 1929 stock market crash, we saw a massive cultural shift. The 1920s were all about boxy, youthful, exuberant shapes with super heavy surface decoration. But the sober 1930s? They ushered in this era of streamlined chic. Hemlines dropped, fabrics were expertly cut on the bias to hug the figure, and softer, much more elegant curves became the new standard. This whole sweeping silhouette perfectly mirrored the aerodynamic, flowing lines that Auburn was about to adopt.
Moving on to Section 3. Engineering the Boattail Speedster.
To bring this streamlined vision to life for the 1935 model, Auburn brought in designer Gordon Buehrig. But there was a catch, and it was a big one: severe economic constraints. The company literally couldn't afford to build a car from scratch. So Buehrig had to get incredibly resourceful. He repurposed leftover 1933 bodies from the Union City Body Company, specifically using their midsection and top frame. From there, he designed completely new sandwiched fenders, a backswept radiator, and of course that signature tapering boat tail rear end. It was a revolutionary aerodynamic open two-seater with a fixed V windshield and no side windows, engineered entirely on a shoestring budget.
But hey, the Speedster wasn't just a pretty face. It was a total mechanical powerhouse. Under the hood sat a 280 cubic inch Lycoming L-head inline-8 engine. And to really bump up the performance, they slapped on a Schwitzer Cummins centrifugal supercharger. This pushed the output to a massive 150 horsepower at 4,000 RPM. This setup gave it incredible power, sure, but it also produced this signature whining sound that exhausted out through striking external side-threaded pipes. Those pipes quickly became a definitive visual hallmark of the car.
All of that raw power fed into an incredibly advanced driving experience. The Speedster featured a 3-speed manual transmission that hid an absolute gem of engineering, the Columbia dual-ratio rear axle. So here's how it worked. You drive at a normal 3-to-1 gear ratio for just leisurely cruising. But when you wanted to really open it up, you simply moved a steering wheel lever and dipped the clutch. That engaged an epicyclic gear train, dropping you into a fast 4.5-to-1 final drive. It essentially gave this 3-speed car a virtual 6 speeds. Section 4. Breaking records at Bonneville.
So, to prove that these stunning looks actually translated to real-world performance, Auburn took the Speedster out to the Bonneville Salt Flats. They put the famous racer Ab Jenkins behind the wheel, and the results? Absolutely staggering. In 1935, Jenkins broke 70 separate American and international stock car speed records in this thing.
But here is the most impressive part. He proved that the Speedster was the very first stock car capable of exceeding 100 miles per hour over a grueling, continuous 12-hour period. I mean, 12 straight hours at over 100 miles an hour in 1935? This was the definitive proof that Auburn's bold marketing claims were actually rooted in mechanical reality. Because of that run, every Speedster sold came with a personalized plaque right on the dashboard, emblazoned with Ab Jenkins' signature. It strongly implied the vehicle had been personally driven over 100 miles per hour.
Now, we do need to be clear here. While Jenkins absolutely proved the model's design was capable of this, the individual customer cars rolling off the assembly line weren't actually individually speed tested to 100 before delivery. So the plaque? It was a brilliant piece of marketing that implied a personal speed test that hadn't quite taken place.
Section 5. The Great Depression and Demise.
Yet, for all its glory, there's a tragic irony to the Speedster's story. Despite its mechanical brilliance and those record-breaking performances, the crushing economic realities of the Great Depression were closing in fast. Auburn had actually built a successful lineage of 887 Speedsters across 3 distinct series, with iconic designs by Alan Leamy and later Gordon Buehrig. But as the 30s wore on, sales just continued to slump, and E.L. Cord, the very man who had miraculously saved the company a decade prior, well, he lost interest in automobiles and started pivoting his investments heavily toward aviation.
Ultimately, those economic pressures were just insurmountable. In 1937, Auburn car production ceased entirely, forever closing the doors on the Auburn Automobile Company. When all was said and done, only 143 of the iconic supercharged Boattails were ever manufactured.
Section 6. A coveted modern classic. But the end of the company was really just the beginning of the car's enduring legacy. As a pure driving experience, the original Speedster was actually quite heavy and didn't have much of a real sports car feel. But its striking visual appeal, that transformed it into a massive status symbol, highly desired by 1930s youth and movie stars alike. Decades later, it even inspired a huge wave of fiberglass replicas, and perhaps most importantly, its signature boat tail directly influenced some major American automotive designs down the line. You can clearly see its DNA in the 1963 to 1967 Chevrolet Corvette Stingray Coupe and the 1971 to 1973 Buick Riviera.
Today, an authentic 851 or 852 Auburn Speedster is an absolute crown jewel for classic car collectors. Because so few are made, their extreme scarcity and historical significance mean they can easily command prices of over $500,000 at auction. Historians do warn collectors to be incredibly cautious, though. Because of that immense value, there are a lot of fiberglass and even metal replicas out there, forged from standard Auburn sedans, just trying to pass as the genuine article.
So it really leaves us looking back at the incredible journey of this machine. Think about it. It was designed out of leftover parts on a shoestring budget to save a failing company, yet it broke speed records and completely defined a generation of design. How does a car born in the depths of the Great Depression become the ultimate immortal symbol of 1930s luxury and performance? Well, it's a testament to the fact that true engineering and artistic brilliance can sometimes shine the absolute brightest during the darkest of times. Thanks for joining me on this explainer to explore the legacy of the Auburn Speedster.